Okay, in this final segment on consciousness and sleep, we're going to talk about two questions. First, why do we dream? And second, what are different ways that the sleep process can become problematic? So let's start with why do we dream? Well, we don't really know, but there are a lot of theories as to why people dream. We do know that dreams most frequently occur and are most vivid during REM sleep. And we know that dreams are sort of stories that our brain makes up while we're sleeping, but that isn't the question of why. Well, if you were a famous psychoanalyst and the developer of talk therapy, a fellow by the name of Sigmund Freud, you had a theory about dreaming. And that theory was that dreams reflect wish fulfillment. Freud had a theory, which we'll talk about later when we get to personality. But Freud had a theory that our unconscious mind was constantly working to repress or suppress any thoughts or desires that we had that were forbidden in our society. So Freud thought that dreams served as a way for us to fulfill our wishes and desires, especially when those wishes and desires were inconsistent with the moral compass of our culture or society. But he didn't have any evidence for this. Another theory about dreaming, called the activation synthesis hypothesis, is that we dream just to make sense of random patterns of activity in our brain. That while we're sleeping, some of the neurons are firing and our brain needs to make sense of that, and so it makes sense of that through dreams. The third theory, though, says we need dreams to help us make sense of our lives, to help us make sense of whatever our worries are, what we've learned during the day, to sort of compartmentalize or make sense of the world and store it away. So those are three theories on why we dream. Now, sleep disorders. As you get older, insomnia becomes more and more of a problem. And insomnia is an inability to sleep or an inability to get high quality, good sleep. Insomnia could last for the short term. That might be a few days or even a few weeks. And short-term insomnia usually results from stress. You've got a lot on your mind. You're worrying about something. Maybe there's been a trauma, like a death in the family recently. But insomnia can also result from travel, sort of jet lag. It can result when you can have insomnia if the room that you're sleeping in, is too hot. We talked about the need to lower temperatures associated with sleeping. If your room's too hot, you can't sleep. Caffeine and nicotine, these are both stimulants, and they inhibit sleep. Alcohol, people think, oh, I'll have a drink, it'll help me sleep. Actually, alcohol makes it easier to fall asleep, but harder, very hard, to stay asleep. So alcohol is not a good idea if you have insomnia. Long-term insomnia, I'm talking about difficulty sleeping for months, is different. Long-term insomnia can be associated with types of mental illness. So, for example, people struggling with depression, sometimes they want to sleep all the time, sometimes they can't sleep at all. Certain medications make it difficult to sleep and cause insomnia. Certain health conditions also make it hard to sleep. These include diabetes, acid reflux, people with dementia, Alzheimer's disease, they have trouble sleeping. People struggling with Parkinson's disease, that's also a reason for long-term insomnia, as is sleep apnea. Not sleeping, not getting at least 6 hours of sleep a night has a lot of drawbacks. Now, we've already talked about the ones that are relevant for students. It's very hard to remember things, to remember what you studied if you're not sleeping. So students who stay up all night trying to memorize something all of that work is lost if you don't sleep after you memorized it. But more importantly, sleep deprivation causes a real problem for your immune system. When you don't get enough sleep, your immune system isn't able to recharge, and as a result, you're less able to fight off infections, right? Now, if you're thinking about flu season, you need to get your sleep to fight off the flu virus or any other pandemic-related virus your body might be battling off. People who don't sleep enough actually have a bigger BMI, body mass index. In other words, if you don't get enough sleep, you gain weight. Why is that? Not getting enough sleep is interpreted by our bodies as evidence of stress, of our lives being unsteady and unstable. And so even if you eat exactly the same amount, you'll gain weight because your body's thinking, ooh, I'm under some kind of long-term assault. I better pack on the calories and store the fat as much as I can. Not sleeping, you feel awful, you're achy, you're weak, you're also anxious, and you're also more likely to become angry and to engage in risky behavior. So if you're grumpy and picking at everybody and making stupid decisions, get some sleep. Sleepwalking. Let's talk about sleepwalking. It occurs during deep sleep or slow wave sleep. People who are sleepwalking have very low levels of consciousness. They do not remember sleepwalking. They're not very aware of what's going on while they are sleepwalking. We're not exactly sure what the cause of sleepwalking is, but it can be exacerbated by stress, some types of alcohol, and ironically, sleep deprivation. The sort of things that people do while they're sleepwalking are very simple, right? They don't sit down and type out a novel. They basically do simple things, walk around maybe. People can sleepwalk for 30 seconds, 30 minutes. You can get into a lot of trouble in 30 minutes, and there are no proven treatments. I want to show you a video now that a young man took of his mother while she was sleepwalking. I'm going to show you that one, and then I'm going to show you the video of her watching the video of her sleepwalking so you can see how shocked she is, that she has no awareness of having been a sleepwalker.
And what exactly are you doing, ma'am?
It's a special code.
Is it?
I was trying to open up the tomato cage.
The tomato cage.
Yeah, I was doing a special thing. So the tomato cage wouldn't open.
And where is this tomato cage?
Someplace. I tried many things. But it wouldn't open, and I'm pissed off now. My mom's sleepwalking.
And what exactly are you doing, ma'am?
Come on, Nick. Who is... Oh! It's a special code.
Is it?
Oh my God.
Wasn't that funny? Yeah, I love that. Okay. Narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is another sleep disorder where people are going about their day. One moment they are conscious, they are alert and aware of their surroundings, and the next minute they're asleep. That's narcolepsy. The sleep they fall into is typically REM sleep. Folks who exhibit narcolepsy don't sleepwalk because narcolepsy is associated with losing muscle tone. So I've got a little drawing there of a young man who is slowly losing muscle tone as he falls asleep. He has narcolepsy. People with narcolepsy do not sleep more than average. So it's not that, they sleep 8 hours and then they're still falling asleep. It seems to be inherited. People are born with narcolepsy. And I want to show you a video of a dog with narcolepsy.
This dachshund, Rusty, suffers from narcolepsy, a condition that causes him to suddenly fall asleep when he's trying to do other things.
Skeeter is a small dog with a very big problem. No matter how much he struggles to stay awake, he can't. For this 11-pound toy poodle, almost every moment is a disturbing, losing battle with the urge to sleep. There he goes, out cold. Skeeter has narcolepsy, an uncontrollable urge to sleep.
Okay, that's it for Lecture Series 6. Students in my intro class, back to Canvas. All right, thanks everybody. Get some sleep.